that under the gynocracy, these chicks do not see nor do they recognize the humanity of Black men, specifically Black men. They neither recognize, they don't acknowledge, and they do not see, and they do not speak to the humanity of Black men. You have a lot of these chicks running around talking about what have Black men ever done, or what, just like when I was talking about the Tyrone Muhammad situation. In my chat room, you got somebody twerking talking about something. Well, it ain't no, Black men didn't build a Black nail salon for the women to go to. And I'm thinking, first of all, why should they? You don't do nothing else, they say. So why would you go to a store that they open, that they tell you to go to? You hard-headed. You don't do nothing they say. Second of all, that's not true. Just right, not a mile away, headed east from where they were, I heard that they was on 83rd and State. That's right over here by me. If you go on Stony and like, what is it, 80th and Stony or something like that, it's a whole Black nail salon over there. Second of all, that was a lie that there are no Black-owned salons, nail salons. And then it was like, well, is there any at that price? Actually, no. The Black-owned ones charge a little bit more, but they also do superior work. They also have superior materials that they're working with. So when you get a superior product, you pay more for that product. You get a superior service, you pay more for that service. And you don't have no problem paying white folk for equal or better, but you got all kinds of problems paying Black folks for equal or better. The third thing is, nobody said you had to go to a Black-owned nail salon. Why? Let's start with going to a different nail salon, the one that doesn't disrespect you. How about that? How about you don't need a jail set? How about make the sacrifice? You don't need that. That's not one of your human needs, is an acrylic set or a jail set. That's not one of your needs. You can go without that. You go drop $100 in a nail salon and ain't got no food in the house for your kids. Like, make that make sense. So how about you don't need no fucking nails done? How about that? Talking about, well, is it that price? Do it need to be? What's the price of your dignity and respect? Name me a price for that. $35 for an acrylic set. That's the cost of your dignity. $50 for the pedicure. That's the cost of your dignity. That's what it costs. That's the price. That's how much it takes to buy you. It takes $40 to buy your damn dignity and self-respect. But you got the audacity to walk around like you worth more than the men, like you better than the men. You don't even have sense enough to not go and patronize businesses that don't respect you routinely. Well, they need to build something. How about you have common sense not to actually spend your money in places where you aren't getting good service? How about that? You know, how about not being able to be bought and sold for pennies for any non-Black entities that come into the community that want something from you, and all they have to do is buy and sell you for $30, $40, $20, $10, $20, and you can't let go.
Hey, my Yama brothers, back again, and I just wanted to drop this real quick. A clip that you just heard was from Kendra D, and she was talking about the Muhammad situation, Tyrone Muhammad situation in Chicago, and how there are Black-owned nail shops in Chicago. And she said there was one right near, probably right down the street where the women were actually going into the Vietnamese nail shop, the Asian nail shop. And how black women do have alternatives. I knew in a big city somewhere that there are black-owned alternatives to everything. There's always black-owned alternatives to just about everything. Black people do have businesses. It's not one of those things where black people don't create businesses. They do, and they already have. The original nail shops that black women went to before the 1980s, really before the 1990s, were black. Most of the nail shops that black women went to were black-owned. But the Koreans, the Asians came in, especially the Vietnamese came in with a cheaper price. And the Asian ice is colder syndrome actually kicked in. And then right after that, I think today, I'll put the link in the description, O'Shea did a video saying that there's 150 nail shops in Chicago, black-owned nail shops in Chicago. So that means is that black women have plenty of alternatives. Those black-owned nail shops should be booming. In fact, if they were booming, they'd actually expand. There'd be more of them. Black people see a good thing, they're going to make more of it. Just like chicken and watermelon. So this demonstration, and I knew what it was a social demonstration, was unnecessary. They could have actually gone in and embarrassed those sisters and actually said, how come you don't support your own? Why do you go to other people's businesses, other groups' businesses, get disrespected and complain about it? When you do have your own, there are nail shops that black people have created that you don't patronize. Other groups wouldn't even hesitate. Like Mexican Americans or Latinos, they don't hesitate paying a little bit more to go to their own and support their own. White people do it. Asians even do it. Latinos do it. Jews do it all the time. They will pay more to actually come in and actually support their own culture's businesses. We don't do that. Black women especially don't do that. Why are you trying to protect somebody that doesn't want to behave, don't want to follow directions? I'm a parent and I'm a grandparent. And there's the age-old adage that everybody knows that when you have a child, at some point, the child gets so curious about the stove, about the oven, that there's only so many times you can pull their hand back. At some point, you got to let them touch the oven, touch the stove to let them know that it's hot. Black women already should know that the stove is hot and not touch it. They already should know that they're going to have issues at the Asian nail shop or Asian hair shop. Black women should already know they really can't get along with most other groups of women other than their own. But there's a certain mentality. It's not just the money. There's a certain mentality that goes with black women when they go to an Asian nail shop. I haven't quite figured out what it is. O'Shea kind of touched on it, that it could be just self-hatred. But that's beyond the scope of this video and beyond the scope of my knowledge. I'm not even going to venture to guess, but I've seen this. This Asian thing is not new. This has been going on since the 80s. This is a 40-year-old problem. Black women are not naive. They prefer this. There are systems in place, people in place, things in place where they can avoid all this trouble. And the video I put up, I get slagged because they say I'm an old ass nigga. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is not a new problem. In fact, most of the people putting up the video of Muhammad aren't even old enough to remember when the problem actually fucking started. They weren't even born yet. I've seen this stuff for damn near 40 years. This is not a new problem. Black women have been doing this for freaking 40 years. And I knew when he was throwing the bricks through the window, and women went into nail shops, did they come running out? No. They didn't even come running out when he was getting arrested. And what I'm surprised is they didn't take the bricks and throw them back at him. Now that would have been funny. If he had been throwing the bricks through the windows, breaking the windows, and the black women in there actually were throwing the bricks back at him. Now that would have been funny. That would have been classic. That would have been a lesson. The reason I love Tyrone Muhammad's action is because it's on video and it shows exactly what the gynocracy is. He shouldn't have had to throw bricks through that window if we were in control of our community and our women. He had a bunch of guys walk in there, tell those women to get the fuck up and get out. They would have walked out. They'd have paid whatever bill that those women had accrued, and you'd have told them not to come back. And the next day, that place would have been empty. But basically, those black women threw the middle finger up at Tyrone Muhammad and his actions, just as I knew they would. But the thing is, he's internet famous now. Everybody knows his name. So maybe he's your next Barack Obama. He can run for office now because now he's made a political statement, a political demonstration. I'm fighting the foreigners. Come on, man. I understand my peers, my younger peers. I understand your sentiment. I understand your fire. The only difference is between you and me is that before the internet, before social media, I was one of those people out there on the street protesting those kind of people and those kind of actions. We was out there carrying the goddamn signs, trying to get people to come out of those businesses and support black businesses. The only thing I wasn't dumb enough to be actually throw bricks through the goddamn window in a business and take a charge for women that I knew was going to be back the next day. We need to protect the people that need protecting. There are women that need protecting, that we need to stand up for, that we need to help. There are children that we need to help. Little boys that have to walk through gang-infested neighborhoods on their way to school. That's who we need to help. We need to be down at PTA meetings, not protecting the right to have long hair, but to make the curriculum better so we have better children coming out of these schools. We need to be down to the school board fighting for trade school programs for our boys so that these boys would have a career in some kind of skilled trade coming out and not broken and unemployed and illiterate. You show me a video about that, trust and believe. Not only will I put up a video, not only will I spread it, there's going to be dollars in my pocket coming out of my pocket to support that, because that's what we need to go. The rocks going through the goddamn window, man, that's 1960s, not 2020, 2019. Black women have made their choice, and what it is that black men don't want to respect their choice. Black women do not want to follow you. I don't know how many times I'm trying to drill it through your head. They don't want to follow you. Now, they will pay for, and I'm going to tell you this, because Cerulin did bring this up, they will pay for you servicing them. Rites of passage, you taking their little boy off their hands and doing something that they can't. They'll pay for that service all day long. They know they don't have a daddy. They don't want to put up with the child's father, and that child's getting on their nerves. They will pay you to take that little boy off their nerves. Pay you. You want money from black women? Give them a service they can get behind. But don't think you're going to lead them anywhere. If you want to serve the gynocracy, you can all day long. I know that. Boyce Watkins makes a mint by servicing the gynocracy. Umar Johnson made a mint by servicing the gynocracy. That formula is very well laid out. That doesn't mean you lead them. And I'm going to say this, and this is my closing thought on this particular thing, and on Tyrone Muhammad. I know what the brothers are saying. I understand what they're saying. And I always tell them, I was you 20, 30 years ago. I already been through this. I'm on YouTube is because I don't want to don't want to be a Tyrone Muhammad anymore, because I know it's futile. You're trying to drag me back into the gynocracy, and I don't want to go. If being pro-black means I got to be dragged back into the gynocracy, into this feudal loop that we've been in for the last 150 years, you can take. I'll give you my pro-black card. In fact, I'll burn it up, put it in an urn, put the ashes in an urn, and mail it to you. I'm on YouTube exactly because you guys are doing the stuff that I don't want to do no more. If you want to do it, God bless you. But don't drag me back into that shit. Don't drag me back into that bullshit, into that futile loop of being in the gynocracy and trying to convince sisters of something they don't want to do. And they know they don't want to do it. And their mamas didn't want to do it, and probably their grandmas didn't want to do it. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Now, if you want to get involved in that insanity, you go ahead. But I didn't come on YouTube to do that shit. If you want to go after female dollars, after gynocratic dollars, you know what, knock yourself out. I can even give you some tips. But I tell you what, it ain't gonna be me. Not on this watch. But anyway, the black twin has been raging all month. I guess this is his month to rage. And this is probably part of an old man's fatigue. You get tired of doing the same shit over again. Black folks are hard fucking headed. And there's no more harder heads than our black women. But with that, I'm going to jump off of here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.